If someone prays the salvation prayer but still questions what they believe about Jesus and only occasionally goes to church or prays, will they be in heaven? That's from the Queen Creek campus. It's a really good question. Chad?
My honest answer is I can't, from a case-by-case basis, will you look up faith without works is dead?
Yeah.
On a case-by-case basis, I can't tell you who's going to be in heaven. I'm not God. And so I can't evaluate what's going on in the sense of whether or not somebody's really received Jesus in their life. What I can evaluate is fruit. And so I can't pass, here's how I'm going to say this, I can't pass judgment in the realm of somebody's salvation, but I can make a judgment call in the realm of somebody's disobedience. And so if a person tells me they're a fellow Christian, but they never come to church, prayer's not part of their life, I'll be like, so you're a follower of Jesus, but you live like an atheist, right? Like that doesn't make any sense. So let's evaluate the fruit. If you're really a Jesus follower, let's follow Jesus. How can I help you do that? And so in the realm of just making a judgment call, I can't tell you who's saved and who's not, but I can tell you who's disobedient. And who's out of God's will based on their actions. Does that make sense? And so followers of Jesus, people that really know Jesus, when they're outside of God's will, they tend to get convicted about that and return. If there's a war going on in you about sin in your life, that's a really good sign that you really know Jesus. If you are cold and indifferent to sin in general, there's a chance that you need to do some business with God. So it's those kinds of things. I can't tell you who's saved, but I can tell you who's disobedient.
Yeah, the verse Chad mentioned is in James chapter 2. And throughout James 2, he's kind of unpacking what good is it, my brothers and sisters, if somebody claims to have faith but has no deeds. And so he talks about faith and works and ties those things together. Now, Paul's very clear in Ephesians that you and I are saved by grace through faith. This is not by works. It is a gift from God. So nobody can brag and go, look at all the stuff that I've done. Look at how great I am. Look at all the things I've accomplished. James also, he kind of balances that and lives in that tension of, but at the same time, if you have faith in the work, in the person, in the leadership of Jesus, there's going to be some effects of that on your life. And then in verse 26, he says, as the body without the spirit is dead, we just talked about that on the last question, so faith without deeds is dead. Now, what I want to say about this, because I think a lot of the questions that we ask and we ponder, one thing I'll often ask myself, or if I'm in conversation with somebody, is this a religious question or is this a relationship question? Because for us as people, our tendency is to lean more towards religion. Just tell me which boxes I need to check. Tell me which things I need to do to make sure that I'm good. And as long as I, if it was mentioned pray or go to church, how many times? Like, when the Cardinals are playing, like, do I have to go to church on those weekends? When the weather's really nice, do I have to go on those? How many times do I pray, or whatever it is? How much do I give? And they ask more of a religious question. What God is concerned with is a relationship. And the heart of God, it's not here's all the rules. It's do you really trust Him? Because if you really trust in God, you'll begin to do what He says. And you'll see the fruit of that trust in your actions, in your thoughts, in your decisions, in your words. There will be evidence of that in how you live your life, because that's what real faith looks like. And that's what James is saying in James 2.